following broadcast is a presentation of iRacing Motorsport Simulations live on PTRTV. We'd like to thank all of our partners for their support.
He may get the run on the outside, off of the back straightaway. 26 and Hallmark trying to go 3 wide. No one's going with them.
Talking and bobbing and weaving down the back straightaway, looking for a way around. The 5 machine trying to take a look underneath the 3 car. He's going to dive it in down to the bottom. A huge move down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Back bumper. Can anything happen through the tri-oval? Walker Thomas to the inside. Here he comes to the outside. Side by side through the tri-oval. The 14. It's going to be a photo finish to the line. Who's going to get it?
Walker Thomas machine coming out of turn number 4. Tiller looking to go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. He's going to try to look for a gap. Bobbing and weaving for the lead down through the tri.
Photo finish.
2 by 2. The 65 gets the win.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Welcome race fans to PTRTV on LSRTV for some more coverage of the American Sim Racing Series and their Sam Maxwell Customs ASRS Truck Series. Tonight is the start of the playoffs, and it's also at a road course. We're at Mossport Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Bowmanville, Canada for the Canada 135K, which equates to 35 laps around this road course. Again, we're starting the playoffs here. We have a season that is dwindling, that is coming to a close. We have 12 drivers that will be going for a championship, and today is the start of that sequence. Calling the shots tonight is myself, Corey Silva, and Evan Black. I'm working the cameras, and we have Joe Chris helping us out behind the scenes. Evan, in similar fashion to what we saw on Sunday in the real world Camping World Trucks, we're starting the playoffs off here on a road course, a big wild card on not a very easy track for these guys.
Yeah, we see a lot of new guys up there in the top 10 that we usually don't see, except for, you know, Devin Serra. He's up there currently on the provisional pole. We usually see him up there at any track we go to, but so is Brian Yazek. But there's quite a few new names up there that usually aren't up there on the ovals, that they like the road courses.
Yep, and some drivers who are, like you said, just kind of showing up for the road course, maybe kind of doing a ringer style event, trying to see what they can get. You see Zach Nichols in the 31. He is second on the board now. Brian Yazek, a familiar face up front, but you can see Devin Serra and Zach Nichols, they nearly have a second over the remainder of the field, so they are definitely showing what they are made of. But Evan, we have 35 laps tonight, and we don't have a caution flag coming out whatsoever. This is going to be a green flag affair, and I don't expect pit stops to come into it. So these guys are really going to have to be consistent and really save their trucks for the whole race.
They can go the whole way on fuel, you think, Corey?
I would think so. I mean,
no, it's looking like right now probably going to be between 25 and 30, probably about 28 and 30 laps.
All right, so
there will be a pit stop.
All right, so that shows how much well, let's just say in the official world on iRacing, I didn't get to finish many races, so I didn't really get to see the fuel mileage. Mossport definitely had my number, but we'll see whose it does have, as again, we are in the playoffs, and just give you some heads up on who will be fighting for the championship. We have 12 drivers. We have Jared Mogard and Brian Yazik with 2,012 points. They are 1 and 2 seeds, and we have everybody else will start the playoffs with 2,000 points fresh. That is Jordan Ashland, Mitch Brown, Jim Foose, Jared Haggerty, Troy Haight, Nick Curling, Tim Knott, Joseph Seville, Devin Serra, and Jason Stewart. That is your championship drivers, and they will be denoted, as we'll try to get an example for you. Well, they're supposed to be denoted by some blue spoilers and banners.
I believe they are red.
Oh, yes, red for the trucks, that is blue for Cup. Good call, Evan. So as we can we'll pull up Jim Foose, league owner. You can see the red there, so you can see that on the broadcast to help denote these vehicles from one another. And again, we'll see what kind of race we're going to put on at the road course, Evan. We don't really know. I don't think we've actually covered a road course from them. We may have covered Watkins Glen once, but not something very common for this league. So really going to be interested to see how these guys and who is the ones that we're going to watch for over the course of a whole race.
Yeah, qualifying is now over, but people that have already started their laps can come around and finish them, as there's about a 2-minute kind of cool-off time.
Yep, as long as you have registered your lap and you have the ability to finish it before that buffer time is over with, then it will count. We have Jordan Ashland currently 9th on the chart. He is headed through the final sector of the track, which, if you've watched any Camping World Truck Series races here, you know that there's a lot of activity that goes on in this part of the track. As Ashland will throw that lap away. We have Evan Osborne going up what is the Mario Andretti straightaway, which, well, is not very straight. A lot of curves to it, and kind of a lot of elevation change, and then it will bear to the right here, and this is where the most technical time part of the speedway comes into play, as well, that lap is not going to count. He goes to the right-hander. You're setting yourself up for this left-hander, then immediately back to the right for the next right-hander. So a lot of time to be gained, a lot of moves to be made, and, well, a lot of races can be won and lost in that corner, as we know very well.
Yeah, there's generally been a lot of carnage in that corner, at least in those last few set of corners in real life. I don't know if we'll see that tonight, as with there being no cautions, this field might be a little bit spread out, but we'll see. And
I'll let you correct me on this, Evan, but I'm fairly certain I am right. The incident limit is no different here than it would be on any other race in this league, if I'm correct.
You are not correct. It has been upped to 20, it looks like.
All right, so a little bit more buffer. Usually there is a 13 incident limit in the series, so off tracks, car contacts, wall contacts, etc. 13 and you will be removed, but for the sake of road courses and, well, how easy it is to get 2 wheels off but still be in good shape, a little bit of extra buffer added by admin, which I'm sure these drivers are very appreciative of. So that is the conclusion of qualifying. So these drivers will get assembled onto the starting lineup, and we will give it to you right now. The PTRTV on LSRTV starting lineup from Mossport from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. On the pole with a lap time 1 minute 23.02 seconds, Devin Serra. Starting on the pole tonight with Zach Nichols to his outside. We have Brian Yazik in 3rd, Matt Kemp rolling off P4, Mitch Brown in 5th, Mark Cohn in 6th, Jordan Harnish and David Hudson 7th and 8th.
And rolling off in 9th, series sponsor Sam Maxwell, and he's going to have Jordan Ashland to his outside, Tyler Seville in 11th, Evan Osborne in 12th, Jason Stewart 13th, Jeremy Banning in the 14th position, Clarence Bonner 15th, and Tim Knott in 16th.
Now we have Jared Haggerty in 17th, Troy Haight in 18th, Trevor Brownlee in 19th, and Pete Baskins rolling off in 20th. Kevin Mingus in 21st, Richard Stallings in 22nd, and then Jim Foose and Brad Cross 23rd and 24th.
And rolling off in the 25th position, we have Chris Titus, Chris Titus, John Kennedy in 26th, Robbie Baskins 27th, Brandon Kreutz in 28th, Brandon Stokes 29th, Andy Veltman 30th, Alex Giese 31st, and Scott Holler in 32nd.
Jared Mogart all the way back, chase driver in 33rd, Dylan Hickey in 34th, and then Nick Curling behind the scenes will Nick Curling, he races. I'm sorry, Nick Kaufman is the admin. Nick Curling shotgun on the field.
So 35 trucks, that's going to be quite a few here.
And we had a standing start. We're green flag racing. Well, that caught us off guard. Here we are. That was a standing start. Usually it's we expected a rolling start, but these guys are underway.
Well, I don't think anyone expected that, as Devin Serra back to third. Matt Kemp looks like he's going to be in second, and Zach Nichols in the lead, so I don't think anyone was expecting that.
As from experience as a league owner who sets races up on road courses from time to time, that is a very easy mistake to make. Whether it was a mistake or not, we don't know, but regardless, these guys slightly unexpected start to the race, but Serra will have to fall back into second as that 31 into the hairpin. He goes wide into the dirt. That gives Serra the lead back as they head down the back straightaway.
And going up that Andretti straightaway, and it's very important to get a good run off of that corner, that little hairpin there, and it didn't look like Serra got a very good run as the 31 was able to pull ahead just a little bit there. We'll see down into the S's here. Serra does have the preferred lane for this first corner here. He goes to the inside for the 20, then he's going to have the unpreferred lane for this next corner, but he's going to make it work.
Yeah, you're going to have to get yourself set up, and this is the easiest part of the track to screw up, to lose a lot of time, or to have contact done or applied to you, depending how it works out. Big wiggle there, but carries on. Lap 1 goes to Devin Serra, but that 31 is definitely there for the challenge.
Then Brian Yazek just behind them. He dropped back a little bit there on that initial start, but he's starting to move his way back up through this field. I don't know where he dropped back to on that initial start, but he did with a few spots.
Now that right there, that downhill left-hander is most certainly, in my opinion, the most dangerous turn on the racetrack. If you go a little bit wide, you are off in that grass, and once you're in that grass, there is not much chance of you avoiding that barrier. So these guys really have to be cautious with the trucks there, and this downhill left-hander right here sets you up for what is Moss Corner here at Mossport. And you can see that 31 really surges to the back bumper of the 20 through the center of the hairpin, but that's not where you need to make it stick. You need to make it stick on this long back straightaway.
Which looks like Serra did get the better run off of that corner, which, Corey, do you think this is going to be very much of a draft? I know there kind of is in real life. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think on the iRacing side of things the draft is going to be maybe what we would expect, but you never know. It would not hurt to be close enough to be considered to be in the draft. As you can see here, these leaders are still hanging in within relative proximity of each other, and as we just quickly skim through the field, you can see most everybody else has found themselves in their single file formation at the moment. All the way through the field, it looks like the only driver who has had early problems, Trevor Braunley in the 102. Looks like he has had an off-track excursion. He's back in the back of the field, but so far everybody else doing a good job staying on the track right now, 3 laps in. And as you said, Evan, with your updated information that you gave me on the pit strategy, would you assume these guys are going to maybe try to split this race right in half?
That's what would kind of make the most sense to me. Just pit around, what, bro? Lap 18 or so would be getting near halfway here, so pit right around there, get you some new tires and some fuel, and be back on your way to the end.
And I have been corrected. Mossport, I believe, is proper pronunciation of the track. I've been saying Mossport, so whichever one it is, I'll just call it Canadian Tire and won't take the easy way out on that. But it does look like that number 31, he is not falling off that back bumper of the 20, and at this point, Evan, we're Devin Serra in the playoffs. Is it going to be kind of a distraction having some guy close to the back bumper and maybe a little bit of pressure making that 20 make a mistake? Do you think that is something that could happen?
It's always distracting having someone behind you, especially as close as that 31 of Nichols is. But he just got loose there out of turn 10. But he did lose a little bit of time, not a whole lot, but that will relieve some of the pressure.
Yeah, you always want to focus on what you are doing, and especially on a road course, when you start focusing on what is behind you, you are setting yourself up to make a mistake, and especially at a turn like this where they are right now, you can't afford to make that mistake. You really need to focus on what you're doing and run your race and just try to minimize distractions. And it does seem like Sarah is starting to get into a bubble, get a little bit of that lead back. We'll see if the 31 is able to cut back into it. Yazik just barely hanging on to the back of these guys, and we'll go a little bit further back and you can see some battling going on. Mark Cohn in that one is trying to pass Mitch Brown in the 18. Remember, Mitch Brown is a playoff driver. Right behind that is Jordan Harnish and David Hudson, who is fast in practices for this race.
Yeah, I know Hudson, he was very confident coming into this race, and right now we're in an 8th, so pretty good result, but I think he felt like he was going to get a lot more than that.
Yeah, these qualifying times were quite good in this series, but there was quite a bit of disparity. About 5 or so seconds separated the field on the stopwatch, so that does show who the road racers are and maybe who are already waiting for next week to come around. But again, with the playoffs, you really have to get through this race and get a good performance for those who are in playoff contention. And it does look like that 31 has closed in back again to the back bumper of the 20F. Sarah, battle for the lead shaking up yet again. A little bit of connection issues there from the 31.
Yeah, Nichols is definitely quicker as he quickly closed in that gap back up right to the back bumper within about a truck length or so. But it's going to be pretty hard for him to pass Sarah here. He's taking a look to the right side here. I don't think he's close enough to get next to him. Actually, he might get there. It's going to be close to go down into this corner here, but Sarah gets loose.
How hard does Sarah want to fight this right now? This is not a good entry to the corner for Sarah. All the way tight there. That 31 is going to have the arc. He may be able to do a crossover here on exit. This has brought Yazik into the mix as we head down the back straightaway yet again, and here comes Yazik.
See all these top 3 just very close to each other, and that's one thing. Whenever you start battling at this track, you lose so much time to the guy behind you or in front of you. It's just very hard to battle at this track and not lose time.
And this is right about that point in the run where the tire wear is going to start coming into play as that 31 tries to get the little bit of a look to the outside, right to the back bumper. He's going to look to the left, maybe try to get a crossover, a better run, and look to the right down the front straightaway. If he can get on the power just a little bit better, not going to happen on this time around, but through the front straightaway as they dive off to take lap number 6.
30 laps to go now here, so about 5 laps in. And probably going to be seeing some pit stops here in about 15 laps, so that could really shake things up. And this pit road, it's not really too hard to get onto, but the pit road speed is quite slow, so might see if you guys have some issues with that. We'll see here in 15 laps.
Yeah, right now we do have a full field still, about 31 cars on trucks rather on the racetrack. We did see that this is a very narrow pit road. The stalls are very close together, so you don't, if these drivers do come on pit road together, there could be a little bit of difficulty seeing their stalls, so they might want to try to coordinate going on pit lane when they don't have too much traffic there. But something's going on my timing screen right now. It's throwing me off, but we do have Sarah has pulled away yet again. Yazik is starting to close in on that 31 machine of Nichols. And I think I was saying it a little bit earlier, is that this is that time in the run where you no longer have maximum grip. Your grip is starting to degrade more and more lap after lap. So drivers, as you can see by Yazik there with that big wiggle off the final corner, if you save your tires, this is the time where it's going to start to show.
Yeah, because already at the start of this race, you are lacking grip. There is not a whole lot of grip in these trucks out here. So by lap 5, lap 10 in the run, you are really struggling for grip, as you can see Yazik a little bit wide through turn 4 there, or turn 3 there, or actually turn 2. There, if I can get it right.
Yep, but I do want to flash back just a bit. We do have some good battling going on. Mark Cohn still in the 1. He has that 75 of David Hudson behind him, quite actively going for that position, with Jordan Harnish right behind them, and see chase driver Sam Maxwell, playoff driver, excuse me, right behind that.
Actually, Maxwell's not in the playoffs.
No, I just went to a false assumption there. Maxwell did miss the playoffs, so take that thought back. But regardless of that, he is hanging on there, trying to close in on that battle, as these guys are in a similar fashion to the battle up front. They are running right on each other's tail, but neither has really shown the opportunity to make a serious move. It's just, this is kind of the track, Evan, where you may be faster than a guy, but you might be faster than him at the wrong places where you can't take advantage of it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of places that you cannot pass cleanly at this track. What are the main opportunities? Probably just the Andretti straightaway is one. And I guess you can kind of dive it down into turn one. That can be a kind of passing zone, but
I would
there's
say
not many.
Getting into the hairpin and then getting out of the hairpin and trying to take that run up the back straightaway. I think those are the easiest parts to pass. I mean, we've seen from Noah Gragson that there are other corners on the track to pass. Whether cleanly or not, that's a question for another day, but maybe in this corner, if you can get a better run, you might be able to. The track is wide enough to make passes. It's just where the way the momentum sets up, it's just hard to really get that momentum in the spots you need it to.
And they're going to be coming up on some lap trucks here soon. It looks like Troy Haight, who is a playoff driver, is just up there on the Andretti straightaway, just in front of the top three here. So not going to be too long before they get some lap traffic.
Yep, and we'll see how cordial they are. I'm assuming that lap traffic will most likely be get out of the way. Remember, there's no lucky dogs. There's nothing really to fight for. So if you do go a lap down, it's just keep yourself in contention, keep yourself on the track, and hope for attrition. There will be no cautions of any sort tonight. So Sarah got a really loose there on the switchback left to right, and here comes the 31. Tried getting on the power, couldn't do it. Yazik also had trouble getting on the power. Top three really fighting hard.
And Corey, back in the Moss corner, we had some three wide action going on there, and surprisingly, they all left clean. Mitch Brown, Mark Cohn, and David Hudson, they were three wide there. And somehow that worked.
Yeah, two excellent battles going on now, which makes it really hard to know which one to follow, whether to follow the lead or to watch these drivers. So we'll do our best to watch both of them. As you can see, who is that? That is Mark Cohn, went really wide there on the downhill left-hander. That is Clayton Corner here at Mossport. And he went wide, but was able to keep it on the racetrack and not lose too much momentum. But here comes Brown trying to get a look to the right side, and that's a difficult move to make work, but he's going to try to get in a good position. And here comes David Hudson.
Hudson got right to his back bumper there, going down into turn 5 now, and Cohn going a little bit wide, and the 75 getting into the back of the 18, getting that 18 a little bit loose out of turn 6. I think just kind of trying to let him know he's there, and he wants by.
Yeah, he did, but that little bit of contact in the middle of that hairpin did not get him the momentum he needed off of the straightaway, so he did lose some time, and that opened up the opportunity for the 44 to gain some time. Again, not enough to pounce on it, but enough to get him closer to the battle. And these are the best battles on the track right now between the top three, and here goes the 44.
Harnish going around. He saved it.
Go on replay and watch that 44. He really slung it in there trying to get that thing to turn, and well, he got it to turn a little bit too well, I would say. I think actually he was
completely sideways entering turn 10.
Yeah, let's just try to get a better look at it. I think as he's making the left-hander, setting himself up, oh, he got the right rear into the dirt, and that got him around. But again, to lose as little time as he did, he only lost that one spot to Maxwell, so no harm, no foul really for that 44. But up front, Evan, here we go again. 31 got a really good run there off of Moss Corner down the Andretti straightaway. This is as close as he's been, and then they will have that lap truck to navigate around. I don't know if they'll catch him on this lap or next, but here we are.
And I wonder how much of a fight Troy Haight is going to put up. He is a playoff driver, so I don't know. Since he's so far off pace, I don't know if he'll just let him go or if he was going to try and stay in the lead lap. There's not as much point in trying to stay in the lead lap as there would be on an oval, since there's not going to be any cautions, but still got to fight for all you can get.
Yeah, you don't want to give up, but you don't also want to get in the way. And oh, actually, I'm going to cut that thought off as here comes the 31 into corner number 1. 20 is wide to give him the opportunity, and that is a lead change. Give it to the number 31 and Zach Nichols.
So now is Nichols going to be able to pull away, or is Sarah going to be able to hang on just around him and maybe try and get by him again? At least through those first 2 corners after getting by, he's hanging right there.
Becerra had a win earlier this season at Gateway that was encumbered, and it was a learning experience for him in the way that he won that race. Hasn't had one since. This is the best run we've seen out of the 20, so he's going to want to do the best he can to stay with that number 31, but that 31 seems to have some long run speed, and maybe that 20 will be able to learn something and try to better his lap times and stay with him as they do go to the left side of Troy Haight down those straightaway.
Troy Haight just letting them go by. Not going to hold them up any.
And here comes Mitch Brown has relinquished the position to David Hudson. He just pulled over and let him go. I think he was done there trying to navigate. We'll go back a little bit further and I see some side-by-side going on. That is Jordan Ashland and Tyler Seville. Those definitively are 2 playoff drivers down the back straightaway, and that looks like it will go to Ashland for the 10th spot.
Ashland has a little bit of a gap to the next car in front of him, Jordan Harnish, who just had that big save. And what happened to Mitch Brown? He was a lot further up, I thought.
Yeah, Mitch Brown was running at about the 5th or 6th position, and I think he's just maybe losing some time here over the course of the run as the tires wear, but someone who is on a mission, that is David Hudson. He is to the inside in turn 2. Not usually a spot I would think to make a pass, and that's going to set him up to be on the outside for this right-hander, and he's going to be well out of the groove and lose that time he gained, but he may be able to take advantage of it heading into the hairpin.
So you're going down into turn number 4. See if he can try and make a move down here into turn 5. Now he's going to try to get next to him, but I think he just kind of overdrove it a little bit, lost a lot of speed there through the center.
But he tried setting himself up for a better exit off of the hairpin, and I don't think it really worked for him as he would have hoped it to do. So he will lose some time there and have to relinquish, well, try to regain that. As it does look like that 27 is dropping back now. Seville and the 11 has managed to get by him, so Ashland back to the 11th spot. But jumping back to the front, Evan, that 20, as I said, whatever he was doing wrong, I think maybe he's learned something, or maybe he's calmed down, or whatever the situation is. He has not dropped off that 31, and vice versa. That 31 has not pulled away.
Yeah, last time by, Sarah was about 2/10 quicker. So as he overdrives it a little bit just into turn 3, he got a little bit loose there on entry, but I think he might be a little bit quicker now.
Yeah, he was, you can see here on the lap graphic, a 24.39 to a 24.58, so just about 2/10. Yazik rating him a little bit slower, a 24.66, still a very good lap in comparison. Everybody else in the top 10 is in the 25, 26, even a 28 there for Mitch Brown, so see the lap discrepancies there. And here we go as another lapped vehicle. That is Richard Stallings. He is now going to be right in front of the leaders.
As well as Jared Haggerty. You're going to be able to get by both of them in the S's.
Not a spot on the track you want to get by, but the lappers are doing the best they can to facilitate the leaders getting by. There goes Yazik. So top 3 by without any kind of significant loss as Yazik goes wide into the dirt, keeps control of it.
And Corey, they're going to be coming up on pit stops here in probably about 4 or 5 laps. So that's going to be interesting to see when these guys do choose to come down pit road and which strategy is going to be the best.
Yeah, we usually talk about fall off, and we usually talk about, do you want to go for the undercut and pit a little bit early, try to get that advantage on fresher tires, as Sarah really sailed it off in there into the right-hander, or do you want to pit later and have the fresher tires to end the race with? But in all honesty, Evan, the lap times haven't dropped off too much. We're only at about a 1.5 second fall off, so I'm not really sure if that will amount to that much relatively for a pit stop timing, if you know what I mean.
It's kind of hard to decipher, but I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, trying to say that. I don't think if you pit early, you pit later, it's not going to be that big of a difference. We know some tracks we see 2-3 second fall off. We've only seen about 1 second fall off, which I don't think is going to really throw that into massive consideration.
These top two kind of starting to pull away from Yazek just a little bit.
Yeah, Yazek did lose a little bit of time, I think, trying to get by Stallings and that other driver. But here comes Sarah. He got a better apex through the final corner and is right to the back bumper. These top two are essentially equal, it seems.
Yeah, whoever gets in front is slower, it seems like, because now Sarah looks like to be the quicker truck right now.
I can see they're running identical lines through the through turn 2. A little bit of a gap to the 31, but Sarah seems to be harder on the binders into these corners, really driving it in deeper. 31 trying to get the better run on corner exit, and it is working by just a little bit, but that must be something in the mirror for that 31 to see that the Sarah really diving in hard in the braking zones.
You can see here down into turn number 5. And one thing I've noticed, Sarah has kind of started to take the same line as Nichols through there. Before, Sarah was kind of taking a tighter line through that little hairpin there, and he's kind of widened it out, and it has helped him.
Yeah, again, that's what it is. If you're better in a certain part of the track, and if you're worse at a certain part of the track, that's an opportunity to learn from that driver and maybe put that towards your ability and put together a better lap. So again, here he comes through this right-hander into the switchback. That is the final couple corners here, and didn't get through the left-hander as well as Nichols, and accordingly didn't get through the right-hander as well as Nichols. You really have to rhythm that together. Gives the 31 a little bit more of a lead. Again, Yazek has fallen back 3 seconds off of these guys now.
Yeah, he is really struggling with the handling on that 55 truck. It looks like he's just starting to get really, really loose out of these corners. So he had to burn his rear tires up just a little bit too much there.
See him sliding
during this run.
Really sliding down through the left-hander there. Now, it may be wise for maybe him to try short pitting by a lap or 2 just to see if he can get anything out of it. I mean, it might be a second or 2, but and he is now back almost 4 seconds, so he is really off the pace compared to the leaders. And Matt Kemp, we haven't mentioned him at all, really. He's kind of in between both battles we've been following, but Matt Kemp in that 09, an excellent run as he got the right sides into the dirt. A little bit of an excursion there, but hangs on to it as he heads into the hairpin.
Yeah, Kemp, he's kind of all on his own, which, Corey, do you like kind of just being in your own bubble, or do you like battling with someone?
I mean, it's boring, but at the same time, it's safe, and if it's in a good position where he's running in 4th and he's just kind of in his own world, I mean, it kind of is a decent position to be in. It's one thing to be in your own position, in your own little bubble when you're running in 22nd, but I wouldn't mind it as much if I was in P4. And Hudson in the 75 has gotten himself about a 2-second gap on Sam Maxwell, who's managed to get by Mark Cohn, and then Mitch Brown back to 8th. Jordan Harnish in 9th. Tyler Seville, the top 10. Top 10 is separated by 34 seconds here as we are on lap number 17.
Nichols now up to a 2-second lead. Or actually,
oh, someone has had a issue there on the back straightaway, has retired. Devin, I'm not sure who that was.
Devin Sarah is trying to save fuel, I think. He was just clutching it in down into turn 5 and 6, that little hairpin.
Well, let's bring up his telemetry and we'll find out together.
I noticed he started falling off. He's now 4 seconds off of the lead.
And he's running 1.1 seconds slower on that last time by.
So listen, we'll see if he does it here. No, not going to do it now that we're on board with him.
That is the broadcaster curse. Whatever they do, they don't do when you're trying to watch it live. Now, you estimated about 30 laps as absolute stretch.
Well, just sitting on pit road, it was showing about 33.
And that is always the higher end of it. That is never the actual accurate. It takes about 5 laps for the iRacing calculator to get any kind of accuracy. So, I mean, maybe he's fallen off that much, or I mean, maybe he knows something we don't. But as we said, he's
well, he knows something that we didn't know, and we do now know. We just talked to our pit reporter, Brandon Kreutz, and I guess our in-car reporter.
Yeah.
And he's got about 17 laps of fuel left. So that'll put him about 1 lap short, so you could save it.
Yeah. Kreutz, speaking of which, our PTRTV insert terminology here. He's running in 16th right now. And I'll give him credit. He's battling with Jim Foose now. That's 16th and 17th. And he just stopped right there, it looked like. But give him credit. He's a little beaten and battered, but did not expect him to have to be on track for this long, in all honesty. As here comes Yazik, slinging it to the inside of Sarah. But Sarah kind of shut the door on him. So this is, again, this is for second. This is now 5 seconds behind the leader. And, well, now we have the dynamic to know, is that 20's pulling some kind of fuel strategy? It looks like he is. And, well, if he's doing it, then, well, what does that mean for everybody else?
I don't know. It's going to be very tough to kind of figure out what everyone is doing.
Trying to see if any...
And I don't know what's going to work, because if you can save fuel, I think that's going to work. But is Nichols even... Is he just going to try and pit, or is he going to be able to make it on fuel? Or
I mean, it is a short, relatively short pit road here. I mean, I think you're going to lose about 40 seconds, and you're not going to gain, as Clarence Bonner wrecks there at the bottom of the hill in that number 13 machine. We'll watch that quickly, but Evan, I don't think in 20 laps you're going to gain 40 seconds on the track, so I really do think if you can stay out, you are going to be the better bet. You can see he just went wide in the left-hander and hit that awkward part on the concrete. But
see if you guys are coming down pit road. Jason Stewart, who was in the 11th position on pit road now. So apparently it's close enough that some people don't want to take that risk.
And if you're a playoff driver, I mean, I'm going to kind of contradict myself. I would say the playoff drivers, it'd be more wise of them to maybe err on the side of caution. But if you're that confident in it and you want that win to help you get into the next round, and well, I guess that's kind of a hard ticket to pass on. And let's think of that in another sense, Brandon. I just called you Brandon. Evan. Yazik really dropped off well before even Sarah dropped off. Now, was that fuel, or did Yazik drop off on speed? It's kind of something to think about now as well.
And I don't know if Sarah's been clutching it anymore, so are they even, what are they doing to try to save fuel if they are trying? Are they just shifting early and like staying in a higher gear, or?
Yeah, that's all you can really do on a road course. I mean, obviously on an oval you can let off
lift
really early,
and
get on the power late. You can coast a little bit down the straightaways. But on a road course, I mean, you can't really save that much fuel without losing an inordinate amount of time. So it's really just clutching it and letting off really early. There's not much that you can save. I can't imagine saving 2 laps absolute maximum, at least in my experience.
And Sarah, he's fallen off 2 seconds in the last 5 laps. So he must be doing something to try and save fuel now.
And is Yazik content maybe trying to get whatever little bit of draft, or just trying to run as slow as possible? I mean, if Yazik is running this close to him, you'd think... Actually,
here comes Nichols on pit road.
And here comes Yazik.
So Sarah looks like might be the only at the top 3 to try and make it on fuel.
Now, let's just swing that into a different perspective. As the 09 of Kemp on the pit road. Now it is Mitch Brown. Mitch Brown is in 5th. Is he going to take it to pit road? Yeah, that answer is yes, it is. Now, what about 6th place? Waiting to see. Everybody coming to pit road right now.
And Sarah's clutching in right now into turn number 3, so he is going to try and make it without pitting.
Yeah, Evan, I'm going through the field here as every driver passes by. And so far, we're back to 8th position is the next person who did not pit on that last lap. That is Jeremy Banning. He'll go all the way up to, I think... Nope, actually, Nichols...
He's going to go to 3rd.
Nichols did get out of pit road before he passed Banning. So right now, it is a 33-second deficit that Nichols would have to make up. Can he gain 31 seconds in 15 laps with better tires and with Sarah potentially saving fuel?
Well, Sarah has been running right around the 126 minute or lap time mark, 126s. And Nichols, his best lap is a 23:44.
So let's say
we'll just say 24s.
Yeah,
so that's 2 seconds quicker per lap, and he's got 15 laps for 33 seconds.
Well, that shows that we're going to have a photo finish if that plays out to plan. I mean, does Sarah have enough fuel?
Sarah just ran a 1:30 last lap.
Yeah, so that is not going to cut the mustard right there. He's going to have to pick up.
It's not going to cut the mustard.
You've never heard that one before?
I've never heard that one either.
I am enlightening you to a new line of analogies and puns, sir. Yes, that's not going to cut the mustard. He's going to have to run at least that 126. But if this is what he needs to run, is that 1:30 to save enough fuel, then it is going to be a dead strategy. So we are past halfway. I want to give a little bit of it. I want to give a field rundown right now. Give what you know where your favorite driver may be running. Devin Sarah is leading right now. Zach Nichols is second. David Hudson is in third. We have Brian Yazik in fourth. Sam Maxwell running in fifth. Jeremy Banning in sixth is in pit road. Tim Knott is in seventh. This is going to change a little bit now. So Knott is in sixth. Mitch Brown is in seventh. Jared Mogard is in eighth. Jordan Harnish is in ninth. And Jordan Ashland running in 10th.
Taylor Seville currently running in the 11th position. Matt Kemp in 12th. Jason Stewart in the 13th position. Jeremy Banning on pit road, so he's back in 15th now. Nick Curley in 14th. Jim Foose in 15th. Jeremy Banning 16th. Troy Haight 17th. Kevin Mingus 18th. Jaron Haggerty 19th, and Brandon Cruz in 20th.
All right, and then rounding out the drivers that are currently on the racetrack right now, we have Dylan Hickey in 21st, Alex Giese in 22nd, Richard Stallings in 23rd. And then back to 30th is John Kennedy. We have Clarence Bonner, Mark Cohen, Robbie Baskins, Andy Veltman, Brad Cross, Pete Baskins, Evan Osborne, Chris Titus, Brandon Stokes, Trevor Brownlee, and Scott Haller, all actually out of the race. So again, the $1 million question is Devin Sarah going to have enough fuel? Well, and I guess the $2 million question is, if he has enough fuel, can he hold on the deficit over Zach Nichols? Now, given Zach Nichols and his little bit of connection issues to the server, I don't have an accurate lap time that he ran last time by. So hopefully this time...
He ran a 23:58, Corey.
I'm showing a 26-second lap, so even... So again, hopefully if all was...
It was a 1:23:58.
Oh, okay. Mine, it doesn't pop up, so 1:23:58. It actually showed a 26-second lap time here.
So. If he kept running that, he'd get there, definitely.
Yeah, I think this race would be over pretty quickly, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
So if he ran that, Sarah did turn up the wick a little bit. He ran a 24.7 last time by, which on 24-lap-old tires, I think that's pretty impressive. So if he can run those, if Sarah can still run that lap time when he needs to, he's got this. But again, it is up to fuel. It's kind of a dynamic we were not expecting. Right now, Zach Nichols is 23 seconds back. Remember, he started off as, who is that? That's John Kennedy off in the dirt there. In turn 2, he will stay far to the inside, not everyone's way. But Nichols does have a 15-second buffer over Brian Yazik. Yazik is now 39 seconds back. And Yazik will have about 6 seconds back to David Hudson. And then another 3.5 back to Maxwell. So everyone's pretty well spread out at this juncture.
So it's going to be very close for Nichols to get up there, like you've been saying, Corey. I don't think he's gonna be able to do it. Yeah, we do have a lap registered this time by, and we'll bring it up here on the top 10 graphic. You can see he was only 7/10. Actually, Sarah with the 25.5. That was not a good lap. We'll see in about 25 seconds when
31 is able to complete his lap as he comes through the final chicane.
Well, Sarah, he can afford to be a second and a half slower.
Yeah.
He just can't be 2.5 seconds slower, which currently he has not been. Only about a second and a half there, so he can afford to run those 25.5s.
24 flat for the 31. Brian Yazik, fastest one on the speedway last time by at the 23.7, but a big deficit for him to overcome, so he's pretty much just going to be solid in that third position, barring any incidents on his end. So again, the question lies, it's not going to be a matter of gap as we thought it was going to be. It's going to be a matter of fuel. We don't know how much that 20 has left. We do know that it's going to be, it was at last check from our quote-unquote pit race reporter, Brandon Kreutz. He was one lap
Pit race reporter?
Yeah, that too. He was one lap short, so that was about 10 laps ago as the 15 sailed it off in there trying to get by him.
And 15 went into the tire there.
So if you're trying to do a slide job or a dive bomb, this is what not to do.
I think he got a little bit scared when Sarah braked that early, trying to save fuel.
Maybe that was the case, but luckily for him, actually he was in the wall, so there's not much lucky for him in that situation.
I guess lucky for him, he didn't take out the race leader.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take a positive spin on it. So like I was saying before, I think I got distracted about 3 times. The last check we had was about 10 laps ago, and we were told the 20 was 1 lap short. Now, if you're half a lap short here, for example, you're going to run out at the hairpin. And I'm going to safely say you're not going to coast back. So
yeah, because you're going to be, if you run out in the hairpin, you're doing about 50 miles an hour.
Right about here.
You are not going to make it.
Right about here. And really, for that matter, at any point on this straightaway, he's going to have to run out probably at the top of this hill at the end of the straightaway. If that's as late as he can run out and most likely coast home, but even
I think he could run out right about here. He could run out and make it.
But you have to slow down for these corners to bring up the telemetry to see how fast he does go through these corners. 94, and here's the slow part, so he's about 75 or so. So I guess you could down to 64-ish through that final corner.
Just go 64 through there. You could do that. And probably, as long as he's not within 10 seconds, you could probably finish it and win the race still.
Yeah, and that gap is now 17 seconds, so we are within 10 laps to go here at Mostport at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Again, this is race number 1 of the playoffs for the American Sim Racing Series and the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series, which is what we are presenting you here tonight. We have had a race that kind of caught many off guard. Is what we thought was a pace lap. It turned into a standing start, but we got going and we had quite the battle with Zach Nichols and Devin Serra. They have been going at it. Brian Yazik was up there as well. We had some other great battling in the top 10, and right now it has turned to a point where everybody on the racetrack has pitted except for the leader. The leader is at this point presumably going for the fuel mileage game and trying to win this race on a fuel mileage strategy, and that 31 is trying to win it on speed. So we'll find out in 8 laps what the circumstances are. And after tonight's race, we have a week off as I believe the Cup Series starts next. Actually, no, we are off next week for the iRacing update, as I remember. But we will be back on September 11th for the Las Vegas 200K. That'll be 84 laps, and I bet a lot of drivers are looking forward to heading there and maybe getting back to a little bit of normality. But Evan, to round out round 1, well, to start round 1, we have a road course. And to end round 1, we have Talladega. So
yeah, this is going to be a very interesting round. You have a road course, a 1.5 miles, and then a 2.5 mile super speedway, or 2.66 miles super speedway.
And we know, and well, in all honesty though, as we look through the rundown here, Evan, we looked at the ticker and all our information, the top of the leaderboard doesn't look that much different than it normally would. I mean, we have Zach Nichols up here, who we don't see too often. We have Matt Kemp, he's running at 11th, but everybody else is, as I look down, I don't see anybody who's really drastically out of where they normally would be running. So I don't...
It's just normally they'd be a lot closer together.
Yeah, usually we'd have a little bit more battling, but I mean, that's just the nature of road courses. It's going to be more spread out action, and obviously it's going to really bring the cream to the top of whoever is kind of more suited for this style of racing, but it really hasn't shown any serious surprises. So I think next week, well, 2 weeks from now at Vegas, we'll really have a good indication of who is ready in and who is in playoff mode. And then,
but that's going to be in the Cup Series, so I believe, right?
No
trucks?
Trucks on 9/11 at Vegas, and then again to end the wild card where anything can happen, and it usually does, Talladega Superspeedway.
Yeah, so that's kind of, Talladega's going to be the real curveball. I think with, Corey, do you know if it's win and you advance the next round? Do you know that, Corey?
I'm going to find out. I'm not entirely positive on that, apologies, but we can cue the duck and we can find out. That's an NBC NASCAR joke from the mid-2000s.
That I don't get.
Cue the duck anytime Benny Parsons would cue the duck, cue the Aflac duck for some random track fact or something on those lines. You're not old enough for that.
The more you know.
Yeah. You are not old enough for that, sir, but we will find that information out. But the gap now 13 seconds between Sarah and Nichols at this juncture in the race. See if that closes, as there is an active battle for position right now on the track. It is 8th and 9th. It is Jordan Ashland and Jared Mogard in the 00. Haven't talked much about Mogard. We did talk to him last week, though, and well, he was not overly optimistic headed into tonight's race, so trying to salvage that top 10 for him.
And Mogard's on a little bit older tires. He did kind of short pit here. He's gone for 17 laps. And he started back in 33rd, so a good run going for him now in 8th. And Ashland is quicker, so he might be dropping back to the 9th position here. See, as he got really loose out of turn 6 there, coming up with the Andretti straightaway. And who's that behind him?
That
really loose there.
Tyler's,
the 11 of Tyler Seville about spun out there.
Yeah, so obviously some drivers here at the latter end of the top 10 having their issues and just trying to salvage on, as this race is almost over, so these guys don't have too much to have to survive through. But 5 laps can still, a lot can happen, and of course we've said it a couple times and we'll say it again, we're still waiting on the fuel strategy. Does that number 20 have enough? And well, his bet is made at this point. There's no turning around. His lap times are about 1:26, so he's about 2 seconds a lap slower than his competitors. The question is just going to be, is there enough fuel in that cell, and is that number 31 going to get there? Because right now he might get there if he keeps up 2 seconds a lap faster.
And Jared Mogard was just on the grass, so he's going to lose, looks like 2 spots there to Jordan Ashland and Matt Kemp. I think that was in turn 2. And just got a little bit loose.
And Evan, I am reading right now that there is a win and transfer situation. So
Devin Sarah trying to win and automatically advance to the next round of the playoffs. And then Talladega, that's going to be a curveball because anyone can win that race, even the non-playoff drivers too.
Yeah, there's as long as a race winner is attending every round of the playoffs, that will carry them over. So this could take Sarah through the wild card and into the next round of the playoffs. And that round, as I will find that information out, that round of the playoffs will include Lucas Oil, Texas, and ISM/Phoenix. Of course, leading up to the championship in November.
That's going to be very interesting having Lucas Oil in there.
Yeah, because that is a difficult track. That is a difficult track to pass on, as it is a short track, a fun track, but right up against the fence, and you'll see a lot of slide jobs. You'll see a lot of right sides tore off these machines, I'm sure, but a good race to have in the playoffs and an exciting one for these guys going for their championship hopes. And well, Evan, seems, I mean, I don't know if you've heard anything on driver radio or if we've had any updates, but it seems that 20, I mean, he must be sitting pretty at this point.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything more. So it's going to be, right now we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. But I think he's going to be able to make it. But he still has 4 to go.
His lap times, again, kind of stabilizing out at about 1 minute 26. Zach Nichols at about a 1 minute 25, so not too much of a deficit there. That's not going to allow him to gain anything on the track. He's going to have to gain it on a mistake or on a lack there of fuel load. So, but it does surprise me, Evan, that he must have done his practice. He must have done his research, because usually we have at least 3 or 4 drivers pull a strategy move up. He is the only one that is trying this.
Or maybe it's just not going to work.
That very well could be the case,
so
too.
We'll find out here at 3 laps.
I mean, we do know that there is a lot of drivers who there is a league practice session, and a lot is worked on, a lot is discussed on Monday nights in preparation for the Tuesday races. And I would assume during those practices, the guys who put in a lot of time during the week, they would have found that out. So either they weren't comfortable stretching it, or they just thought it was not even in the realm of possibility. But in, I guess, 3 laps around this raceway, we're going to have an answer for that question. Gap is down to 8 seconds, so the lower that gap is, remember, if he does run out at any point, he's going to have less and less of a margin that he's going to be able to coast to the finish. So,
and even right now, if he knows he's going to run out, he could just pit and probably still finish in, looks like, about 4th. Because David Hudson is about 41 seconds back, and it takes, looks like, about generally 33 to 30. Between 33 and 40 seconds to go down pit road.
At worst, absolute worst case scenario, he'd finish probably 5th. So
yeah.
Because remember, once he takes that white flag, if he is not confident he's going to make it, well, there's no chance. I mean, unless he runs out, as we said, right at the very end of the lap, right about here, he's done. So he's going to have to, again, he could have plenty. We don't know. We know just as much as you guys at home right now. So we did know halfway through the race that he was a little bit short, and we know that he has been slowing the pace down and saving. He's the only guy who has tried this move, and he's going to look like a genius if he can make it about 4 more miles.
2 more laps, and it's actually 3 to go now. Or no, it's 2. It's 2 to go. I got confused there. It's 2 more laps here for him. And 6.7 second gap, so he's gonna have to be what, around 3.5 seconds quicker per lap?
Yeah, so he can slow the pace down quite a bit if he does feel it is necessary to do so. But he hasn't really slowed it down any more than he has been running. He's running about 1 minute 26 second laps, and we don't know how much of that is saving. We don't know how much of that is just natural fall off with the tire wear. There's a couple slower trucks that he may or may not reach before the end of this race, just ahead of him. That is Tim Knott in the number 41, and then Jason Stewart in the number 7 machine. That is 11th and 12th, tail end of the lead lap. They will potentially be caught by your leader, but coming through the final chicane here at Mosport, we're going to take the white flag, and, well, is there enough fuel? Can Devin Serra pull it off?
If he knows he cannot make it, he'll come down pit road here. And it looks like he is going to stay out, so he is confident he can make it 1 more lap.
Yes, he is. Here he comes, taking the white flag lap here at Mosport, round 1 of the playoffs. Is there enough fuel in that machine? Will there be any mistakes made? Can he hold off for the win? He has a 5-second gap over Zach Nichols as we come through and down the left-hander into turn number 2.
So listening to how he's driving, he's taking it very easy. He's just trying to save fuel. He's already lost a second this lap. He's going to have to pick the pace up, or he's not going to be able to win this race. But if he picks the pace up, he might not make it on fuel, so we'll find out.
Yeah, he's down to less than just about a 4-second lead now, and he only has half a lap to go, so this is the most important portion. He needs to be able to make it up the back straightaway. If he can make it to the top of the back straightaway, He should be in the clear. He's on the throttle. He's under power. He's accelerating what appears to be normally. It's
but only about a 3.5 second gap.
All right, the RPMs are still stable. He's
sputtering, I think.
It does appear he is.
He's sputtering.
This is gonna, can he get it? Is there enough? This is gonna be a close finish. What is gonna happen? Is there enough fuel to get him around 2 more corners? He didn't have enough. The final corner. There goes Zach Nichols. Sarah ran out with 3 corners to go, and Zach Nichols will win here at Mostport.
And Devin Sarah most likely is still gonna come home second, going 35 miles per hour. We'll see if Yazik will be able to get by him. There goes, I believe that is Nick Curling going by, but there's Devin Sarah crossing the start finish.
Wow.
He's going to come home second. Wow.
He finished, he was 3 corners short. He sputtered at the top of the straightaway. If he sputtered in the chicane, he would have been fine, but he sputtered just a quarter of a mile too soon. A heartbreak for Sarah, but it's still a second place finish and a victory for Zach Nichols. So we offer congratulations to him, Sarah for his second, and Brian Yazik for a third. We will take a quick break and be back with the post-race show, so stay with us, please.
When I was 16 years old, I was working at a Goodyear tire store, and my boss actually built an old dirt car, street stock Monte Carlo. Went with him one night, fell in love with it. It was a hell of a race, hell of a party, and a big fight afterwards. I was like, this is it for me. It wasn't long after that, I was driving an old 78 Camaro out of the weeds at that guy's farm. We pulled that thing out and made a race car out of it, and away we went. You know, I think a driver has more to do with the equation going back and racing dirt, whether it's a modified, a late model. You can do more with the race car. You know, the harder you drive it, a lot of times, the better it goes. You can crawl up on that wheel and feel like you made the difference at the end of the night. Asphalt car, you can't overdrive them. Well, that was the first thing that I had to learn right off the bat is, oh my gosh, I've got to discipline myself, not overdrive this thing, and that's how you get the most out of it. Truth be told, communicating the right information to your crew and your crew chief so they can do their job and make their appropriate adjustments for you to go faster and do your job is probably 90% of the game in our world. I've always
And we're back here, PTRTV on LSRTV. After a thrilling finish here at Mostport, strategy did not go in the favor of Devin Sarah, but only missed it by the smallest of margins there. Great race by all. So we're going to start the post-race show, and I have caught up with Brian Yazik. All right, Brian, a third-place finish here at the road course. It seemed like you were pretty close to the guys in front of you in the first part of the race, but you kind of dropped back there at the end, but still a good race nonetheless to start the playoffs off.
It could have been a lot better if we didn't screw up pit road like some kind of rookie. That would have been us winning, but not the 31, but I don't know. I stopped in my stall same way I stopped every single time, and somehow I'm too far right, so that's what screwed us up today, but yeah, that just sucks. I've had this one circle on my calendar all year. I love this track. You know, just it just sucks. You know, to give a good run to HPP Simulation for Loud Pedal Motorsports, AMSOIL by Adam Littell, Scott Eckridge Chassis. So, but it's not bad. If you're mad at third place, I guess you're doing something right?
Yeah, I mean, and not to bring up Kyle Busch, but I mean, that's how he is. You finish top 3. I mean, you always want more, but like you said, it took a little bit of a mistake, or whether it was a mistake or just, you know, how iRacing is. It's a third, but what was the mindset? We saw Sarah nearly win the race on fuel mileage. Was there any thought in your mind of trying to go that route with the strategy tonight?
Hell no.
That answers that question.
No, you know, the standing start, that was a fun surprise that I wasn't expecting. You know, even so, that was one less pace lap off, but I was showing 33 laps in practice, and I'm like, I'll just cut it down the middle, because I figured we had the pace, you know, from the start to be able to make that work out, and we almost did. But yeah, that pit road thing kind of sucked, but you know, you get over it. But hats off to Devin. He was trying. Like, I was, you know, Scott Eckridge up in the spotter stand letting me know what was going on, and that was interesting. He almost made it too. That would have been interesting.
3 corners short, but he still finished second, and you finished third, and take a good run into Las Vegas in a couple weeks. So I know you already gave a couple, but any final shout-outs, Brian?
No, thanks to you guys and Sam Maxwell and Jim and you know, everybody in the ASRS boat that keeps everything spinning around. You know, it looks like we should gain a couple points. So with Nick winning, that'll leave one more spot open for points, and I think we should have, because some of the guys that were all tied in the standings, some of them had worse nights than others. So that should build us at least a decent cover, or a little different. Oh my God, a decent buffer. There's the word I'm trying to say. You know, heading off to Vegas here, not next week, but the week after next. And who knows? We might rack off a win there, but Talladega looming. You know, you got to do everything you can to get yourself pretty safely in there.
Yeah, you do. And again, not maybe the result you thought you had, but still not one to look down on. So congrats, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon.
All right, take it easy, guys.
And now Evan has caught up with second place, Devin Serra.
Well, Devin, 2 corners short of the victory. You come home second. What are your thoughts after this race?
Well, that one definitely stings. To try and save like I did those last basic 20 laps or so, and try and, you know, make it to the end, just right there at the end. I knew it was going to be close, but to, you know, try and save every lap I could. You know, I was very disappointed to just come right to the end there, those last 2 corners, and run out. I was kind of sputtering a bit, trying to get whatever I could on the stretch there, but you know, it's just disappointing. It seems like lately these finishes haven't been working out for us. Back-to-back second sting, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it hurts to finish second whenever you know you could have had the win, but second still a pretty good finish, good point stay for you. When did you kind of come up with that strategy to stay out?
Well, I knew right when the race got underway that it was going to be pretty close on fuel. I could save about a half a gallon. I was figuring throughout the race, which is what I needed to save to get to the end. All those 20 laps, I kept clutching it, slowing down, half throttling it, just doing whatever I could to save every bit I could. And I think it worked overall until obviously the finish. It worked pretty well, but I think I just got a little bit too nervous. Nichols was on my tail, and I probably could have saved just that little bit more, but it would have been very close still. You know, and obviously it's a good point stage for us, but I just got to keep grinding, keep putting in the hard work like I keep doing every week, and eventually it's going to work out for us. But to get points like this, it's really good, and have the result we had last year compared to this track was very special. So looking forward to Las Vegas, and hopefully we can go get the win there and get ourselves into the round of 6, or yeah, the round of 8. You know, before Talladega comes. So yeah, I want to thank Ski-Doo, Superset Online, Sam Maxwell Customs for his wheel, Hunt Brothers Pizza, Napa Auto Parts, New Era, Baskin's Knockback Motorsports. My teammates had a pretty rough night, but it was good to get a good finish for them. for our team in this race. But yeah, we're just going to keep working hard, and our day's going to come eventually. So yeah, this one stinks tonight, though.
All right, well, thanks for talking with us, and congrats on your second place finish.
Thank you, guys.
All right, and being a driver who's not usually in the league, we don't have at the moment the winner, so we're going to hope maybe he comes in last second, but we're going to start wrapping up tonight's broadcast, so let's give you the final rundown here from Canadian Tire. Zach Nichols with that last second win, getting by Devin Sarah. Zach Nichols gets to win. Sarah will have to settle for second, running out of gas there at the very end. Brian Yazik with that third. We heard his disappointment on what he thought could have been his race. David Hudson in fourth, Sam Maxwell in fifth, Mitch Brown in sixth, Jordan Ashland in seventh, and then rounding out your top 10, Tyler Seville, Jared Mogard, and Jason Stewart.
And finishing in the 11th position, last truck on the lead lap, Tim Knott. Nick Curling in 12th. Ken Ming is in the 13th position. Troy Haight, playoff driver there, in 14th. Jared Haggerty in 15th. And then the rest of the top 20, we have Brandon Cruz, Matt Kemp, Jordan Harnish, Dylan Hickey, and Alex Giese.
And then we'll just round out the entire field here. We have Richard Stallings 21st, Jeremy Banning in 22nd, Jim Foose in 23rd, Clarence Bonner in 24th, John Kennedy 25th, and we have Mark Cohn, Robbie Baskins, Andy Veltman, Brad Cross, and Pete Baskins, the top 30. And then rounding out the field was Evan Osborne, Chris Titus, Brandon Stokes, Trevor Brownlee, and as far as I'm aware, Scott Haller didn't take a lap here tonight. So wrapping up coverage, we don't have the winner, so apologies for that. He is a part-time driver, at least in the truck series, so maybe not having the information, but again, congrats to Zach Nichols for the win, and just a couple final shout-outs. We want to thank our PTRTV sponsors for everything they've done for the PTRTV side of things for the entire time we have been in operation. As most know, our broadcast tenure is coming to an end, so want to thank everyone who's been with us for the ride. Air Movement and Fabrications, Kreutz Custom Draft Graphics, our ticker brought to you by ibog.co. Check out Jason Allison for all of his work. And again, this was coverage of the Sam Maxwell Customs ASRS Truck Series live for round one of the playoffs. Victory going to Zach Nichols, not going to Devin Sarah there with the running out of fuel at the last second. Catch us in a couple weeks' time when we bring you coverage of this series for round two at Las Vegas, and catch us on Monday nights for the Integrity Racing League. So signing out of the booth is Corey Silva and Evan Black. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good night. We'll see you on Monday.